Things are going super well for me right now. Kostas Garcia just subscribed to my channel.
Dude, you are so well done.
Number 292. Love it.
What a great number, huh?
Today is a great day because we are shooting for, can I get a drum roll? White Claw. The concept for today is going to be having the can in the pool, and then one of you lucky fellows are going to be jumping in to create a splash behind it.
I wasn't aware that I was going to be jumping in the pool.
That's why you're here. This is the only reason.
Can we do this over again? I just didn't even record the whole thing.
You didn't hit record? What's up, everyone? It's Evan Naka again, and today we have a really special day. So we're doing a shoot with White Claw. So we have this beautiful set right now with this pool backdrop. We're gonna be doing and trying to capture some more action photography like I've done with some other product shots. Today is no different. We're gonna be trying to do the exact same thing, but now we have White Claw and we're putting in a pool. I have my boy Kostas up here. He's already trying to set up. The setup for today is gonna be fairly simple in terms of what we're trying to do, but it's gonna be still kind of complicated to make sure that we get the shot that we need and in the focus and clarity that we also wanna try and capture.
What is that Windex for?
I figured you could probably wash my car while Windex is actually for the plexiglass, because what I'm thinking is whoever decides is going to be the lucky one that's jumping in here is going to cause a big splash, and I don't want any of our equipment to get too wet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot through the plexiglass and maybe make a little tarp over it, protect all the gear. And we want it to be clean, so we're going to shoot it. Let's see what we got for today. I have two different camera bodies. We have the a7R IV and the a9 Mark II. If I had to guess, I would assume the a9 Mark II is going to be able to catch that splash that we're going for when we have somebody jump into the pool, but I know the quality won't be as good as the R4. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot with the a9 Mark II to make sure we get the shot first, and then if we have some time, I'm going to use the a7R IV as backup to see if we can just get it a little bit more crisp and clear, because this only shoots in 24 megapixels, whereas the R4 shoots in 62. A lot more information. Lenses set up for today. So I brought the 24-70 G Master, which is a great lens, all-around lens, but most likely I'm going to use it on the 70 setting, and that way I don't have to be too close to the pool when I shoot, and I won't risk getting things more wet than they need to be. Other lens I'm using today is most likely going to be the 90mm macro. Usually a macro lens is for getting those really close-up details that you're trying to find, but for today I'm thinking that 90mm with the Super 35 mode, if this doesn't cut it, will get me I'll be able to be a little bit farther away while still getting able to capture that image.
Did you know that you were going to be in the pool?
Did not know that.
Evan didn't tell you beforehand.
No, dude.
You found out on the way over here?
I'm always up for surprises. And it's really hot out
You're
today,
Mr.
so-
React, right?
Dude, that's what I do, baby. I just react. But yeah, we're shooting for White Claw today. I'm out here helping out Evan, and I'm really excited too because I don't do as much product photography as Evan does. So I'm excited to just ask him a bunch of questions and learn from him and see how he goes about shooting.
So even though we're shooting outside right now, what I'm having us do is we're setting up all the lights. The lights are just going to act as more of a fill than anything if we need it. But I mean, the sun is really strong, but the longer we wait and have the sun directly overhead, the less light we're going to have that's going to actually fill the front of the can. And so we want to make sure that the can is lit beautifully, and that's the most important thing. So that's what these guys are for. We may have to take them off the air stands in case we want it to be a little bit lower to the ground, but we'll see. But that's what these are going to be used for, more of a fill light. See that? Just got to make sure there's no weird bumps on it.
Love that.
It's going to catch some weird lighting. And we're going to duct tape it to the top of this. Just like that.
That actually stayed way
Wait, you didn't think it was going to stay,
No,
did it?
I did not actually.
It's making sure that this thing doesn't fall off. Pro tip, I'm also using blue tape because we're shooting with water. That way the reflection, if it does catch it on the can, It won't be, I mean, if you're using any other color, you probably could get rid of it in Photoshop, but this way it's less work.
Yeah. I think it'll be better from,
Oh yeah, it does.
yeah, 100%. And this side will even it out.
Right now the sun is almost directly above us, so it's getting the can from the top, but it's not really lighting the front of it. So when we turn these guys on, you see how it lights the front of it just a little bit better? The only thing I'm worried about is the splash hitting these, but we'll cover it with some plastic and hopefully it doesn't overheat, but I think it'll be all right. This little setup right here is gonna help protect the camera. I'm also gonna put plastic over this, so I'm basically shooting underneath this blanket. So any splashing that happens, like the lights are one thing to get wet, but the camera, we don't want that to get wet. Since it's gonna be like this huge chaos of splashing,
Yeah.
if you're too close, the product's gonna get lost in it.
Okay.
So I think jumping, and we'll try it a few different ways,
Sure.
jumping maybe like 3 feet behind it to
Okay.
cause that explosion, and then so we can kind of have a little bit of context. Yeah, I think that's it. And no belly flops, no
Okay.
back flops. I want a perfect cannonball, nice and tight.
Yeah, I just don't know how to swim.
Luckily it's in the shallow end. No, yeah, we're good.
Kidding. Taper up, dude. Get her done.
See, this is all the stuff that goes on behind the scenes that people don't realize. To get one shot, oh, stick the can in the pool, let's jump in and create a photo. It's like, no, you want to do it right? It takes time. That's all there is to it. Raise this up like just a smidge.
You raise me up.
See? Problem solving. I don't have a tripod that goes this low, so I'm using the box, but I need it to be at a little bit of an angle. So I took my pliers and I put them underneath because it just had to be up like that much to be able to get that shot. Okay, go back.
Even moving.
Oh, go back.
Counter.
Go counter. All right, take one, about 3 feet behind it.
I'm gonna jump like there.
Okay, I can't see where that is, but I trust you.
I got my spot.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. If I ever need another cannonball, guess who I'm calling? Yes.
Yes, dude. Yes. Dude, I'm so good at cannonballs.
This time I'm gonna turn up the aperture a little higher. I was at a 7 because I want things to be in focus, but now, since we got a good shot, I'm gonna turn it up to a 13 to really try and capture a lot of things in focus. 2, 1, go. All right, so we just shot with the A9 Mark II. We were using the 24-70. Settings were 2500 shutter speed, f13, ISO 1200 or 1250. I think we actually got the shot. I'm really, really excited about it. This guy, just champion. But now this is where we can get a little bit more creative because no matter what, we have a good shot. I'm gonna Photoshop the bar out of the bottom so it looks great. It's had this floating can in the water, but now this is where we get a little bit more creative. So what I wanna do is I'm gonna lower the can a little bit closer to the water. We're gonna shoot it again with the A9 Mark II, not changing any other settings. If we get that shot, then I'm gonna switch to the a7R4 just to see if we get a higher resolution image. That way when I take it to post, I have a lot more flexibility with it.
Do you have any suggestions for Evan?
I'm gonna take a lot of credit on my ability to just
I'm gonna agree with you on
provide-
that one.
just provide an incredible cannonball. So, you know, I'm doing my thing and he's doing his thing.
So I think we got the shot with the A9 Mark II. Let's give the R4 a shot. 3, 2, 1, go.
Let me just wipe the.
I've been laying down on the ground.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't.
This was part of your job.
I know. Sorry, I was a bad assistant today.
Dust control. It definitely shows when you're doing shots like this. Like when I posed when I was doing the A9 Mark II versus this one. Got great photos on here, but there's just so many more options with the A9 Mark II. I still think we nailed it with the R4. Yeah, just going through them, I'm like, maybe every take that we did, there's like 2 that might be usable with the R4, whereas the A9, there's like 5 or 6 that I could probably turn into an actual image. So I think that wraps it up here. I believe I got the shot that I wanted. I'm gonna take it back to post and I'm gonna walk you through the steps right now.
Okay, so we're back in the office. I've actually already gone through a few of the photos, trying to pick out which ones I like, which ones I didn't like, and I've actually landed on using the R4 photos. So I've already gone through them, I've rated them, I kind of narrowed it down to my top like 5 or 6. So that's what we're gonna check out now, and we're gonna go into the full editing process. So as you can see, these are the final selects that I actually chose to use from the R4. And then I narrowed them down by rating each one, and then I rated them to narrow it down even further so I can get like my top picks. It just makes it a lot easier when you're editing, because when you're out taking photos, sometimes you take 100 photos, sometimes you might take 1,000, but you're looking for maybe 5 or 6 really good shots. This will help you narrow down what your choices are so you don't kind of get lost and keep backtracking. It'll just speed up your editing process. This photo, it's good. I think the can isn't as crisp as I want it to be, but the splash is really nice, so that's why I kept this one. This one is really cool looking because it has a tidal wave. However, the thing about this one is I'm thinking that it's gonna look a little fake. There's no water in the foreground to create that element of the water or the can really being submerged. So great wave, but not what we're looking for. Let's see, this one's pretty cool. I do like this one. The water almost has like an iciness to it. Okay, so this one I do really like because it kind of gives me that mixture of the wave in the background, but there's some water in the foreground. Everything's in really crystal clear focus. No big water droplets are covering the logo. It's dead on. So I actually might use this. Now what's funny is we have Costas's hair sticking in the background, but with a little Photoshop magic, I think we can get rid of that pretty easily. So I'm not worried about that at all. So I actually think that this is the photo that I'm gonna actually work from. Let's start working on this. We're gonna bring up the shadows a little bit, something I always like to do, bring down the contrast, kind of flatten out our image a little bit more. And then we can start playing with some of the whites and the blacks, and we're gonna go down to the curves. And we're just gonna make this photo a lot more dramatic, just to start off with. Now, so the interesting thing about shooting for White Claw is that all their branding, at least on social media, is all in black and white. Sometimes it has a little pop of color. So today we're gonna be doing the exact same thing. We're gonna be making this photo into a black and white photo where it says mango and that orange kind of yellow reddish color right at the bottom of the can. That's the only thing that's gonna be in color. But before we do that, I wanna kind of get the lighting looking better, just kind of generic edits in Lightroom, and then we'll take in the Photoshop and then we'll transition it into actual black and white. So that's gonna be our starting point. Let's go ahead and take that into Photoshop. All right, now that we have it in Photoshop, we're gonna be able to play with the colors just a tiny bit more, and I'm just gonna create a mask over it, a black and white mask. And what I'm doing right now is, since I created this mask over the black and white, I'm gonna paint out the area that I actually want in color. So it's gonna affect everything else except for that. Turn up my flow a little bit. Great, so now we know that we have our black and white filter on there, but first and foremost, we wanna get rid of this guy. There's no reason that this should be in there. So all I'm gonna do is, I already created a second layer. So let's go ahead and clone some of this stuff out. Also, while I was stamping out the head in the background, I decided I'm gonna get rid of that pole that's holding up the White Claw. So now we can't even tell it was ever there. So from here, what I'm gonna start doing is I'm gonna edit it as a black and white photo, because your edits are gonna vary a little bit depending on if you're editing black and white versus color. So like this, I really like how vivid the water is, but you can see that that brought down the mango too much, and now it looks too dark. I'm gonna do this, paint out, make that mask again, and get rid of some of that effect that I just did on the color part, because I want that to be fairly bright and noticeable. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a copy layer of all the different edits that I've already made. And how I do that is, on Mac computers at least, Command Option Shift E creates a brand new layer using all of the edits that you've already done underneath it. I'm gonna take it back to my camera raw filter into Lightroom, adjust the clarity a tiny bit. I'm gonna make this pop even more, just the can itself, because that's a highlight. That's what we want to make sure everybody sees and notices. And that's pretty much it for this edit. It was a pretty simple edit. However, it was because we spent so much time on prep to be able to get that photo, so we didn't have to do too much to it when we actually brought it back to post. And that's probably the key thing for a lot of people here is spend a little bit of extra time setting up your shot, thinking it through. What do I need? What do I want? What does the brand want? It's gonna save you a lot of time when you take it to post like this. All right, everyone, that's gonna do it for today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. My name is Evan Naka. I hope you learned a little bit of something. I'm gonna throw up the White Claw image right now. And until I see you all next time, take care.